I've got some news for you that's both good news and bad news. Conflict is essential. Now, I didn't say that conflict is something to be overcome, conflict is something to be avoided, conflict is something to be worked through. I said conflict is essential. Conflict is essential to making you a better person. The ancient proverb in the Old Testament says, as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. That's how it works in life. When you have conflict that's done in a healthy way with another person, you get perfected in the process. People come to me for marriage counseling and they say, I can get along with anyone except for him. And I say, well, of course, that's because you're married. That's what marriage is. It's a place where you are sharpened like iron against iron, a place where you're taking off the rough edges of each other. All of us have unfinished business in life. And so we find ourselves attracted to someone who feels familiar in some way, who's going to take us to the deepest, unfinished parts of ourselves and help perfect us. God has sent you the perfect person on the planet to make you more mad than any other human being possibly could. Because He sent you a person who's going to take you to the deepest parts of you that's going to help perfect you in a way that no one else can perfect you. Here's how it works. All relationships have a cycle of conflict. The cycle of conflict starts with commitment, because we are essentially people of commitment. Did you know that people who live together before they get married have a higher divorce rate than people who don't live together? Doesn't make sense. After you've road tested a relationship, it seems to me when you get married, it should be a slam dunk. That's not how it works. Once you commit yourself to someone, it changes you. Commitment changes us. So commitment leads to trust. And once you trust another human being, once you're all in, once you fully trust, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to disappoint you. Trust then leads to conflict. And that gets us to the decision point. You can do one of three things at this place. Once you get to conflict in a committed relationship, one of three things can happen. Number one, you get out. You say, I don't want to deal with this. I didn't sign up for this. This is too much work. I'm going to find somebody that doesn't fight as much. Good luck with that one, by the way. Number two, you can recommit yourself. You can say, let's start the cycle all over again. Let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just commit ourselves. Look, we're committed. Let's just forget about the past and start over again. Well, that's not a bad thing, but nobody learns anything new. You're starting the cycle all over again, and we call this gridlock. Gridlock means I have recommitted myself to a relationship, but there's nothing different. So what do you think is going to happen if nothing's different? You're going to trust. You're going to fail each other, and you're going to get in conflict again, and you're going to start the cycle all over again, only this time it's gridlock because nothing changes. Here's the third option. The next time you fight, you realize God has sent you this person to teach you something about yourself. And in this instance, you learn something new about yourself. You learn, you know what, I've been too aggressive. You know, I've been too anxious. I've been pursuing this person in a way that's not helpful. Or you learn, I withdraw too much. I don't really open up. I'm not vulnerable enough. I have not shared what I need to share that's really vulnerable. But the important part is this. The next time you have conflict, you're not in it to learn something about the other person and point out what they need to change. You're in it to learn something new about yourself. This time, when you recommit yourself in the cycle, it's different because you're different. And the next time you fight, after you commit yourself and trust, you have what we call the anger of hope. And the anger of hope is, I know we can be better because I know I can be better. Because this conflict is sharpening me as a person. I've learned something new about myself, so I'm going to do it differently next time. Now the cycle of conflict is actually an anger of hope because your anger hopes that we can do it better. That's when you say after you fight, you know what, I'm glad we talked about this, instead of, I wish we'd never brought it up. That's when the cycle of conflict is a healthy cycle of anger. You can do that if your goal is to learn something new about yourself. Next time it's going to be different.